No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
4 weeks ago, we approved an
We
individual
are
who was
live.
a social worker that
Uh-huh.
worked for us.
Uh-huh.
She had worked for him, and the thing that was really awkward about that meeting is she had not told him that she was leaving until she was officially approved by us. So all of a
Oh,
sudden,
really?
yes.
Ah, okay. Okay.
So he
All
found
right.
out that his social worker was
Are
leaving
we are
from
we
us.
We're
are we
live.
live, right? We're live? Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
we are
We'll finish
live.
that.
Okay,
That's
well,
We'll finish that a little bit later. Okay.
all righty. All right. Do you want to start with JBEBA? I have a question on this one, unless somebody else has too,
Hmm.
because it's going to be on JBEBA, JBEBB, and I'm going to have the same question later on interrogations, interviews, and searches when we get to that policy.
Okay.
We use a term that for that we can do the testing with reasonable suspicion. Do we define that, what that means at any point? I never saw it if we did.
So hang on one second. I don't believe that we, in policy, no. I don't believe it's in the reg either.
I didn't see it,
And it was
but
one,
I'm guessing that I hear that term in different statutes, state statutes in Illinois, but I'm not sure it's defined. And we didn't define it. I was just wondering, is somebody going to ever say that?
so we do define it in GBEBBR 1 and 2. That
Okay,
a reasonable
good.
suspicion is specific, contemporaneous, articulable observations concerning the appearance, behavior, speech, or body odor of an individual.
Sounds great. Can we somehow on these policies, since we put definitions on these, okay?
Yep.
Can we include it then? I just want to make sure that we're
So, yes,
consistent
so
throughout.
I think what we have currently, Dr. Cuneo, is a cross-reference to GBEBB and GBEBA. Would you rather just carry over the definition? Do you think that would be better?
Yes,
Okay. Yep, we can do that.
I feel a lot more comfortable. Okay,
So we'll carry over the definition from the regulation for GBEBB.
other than that, I didn't have anything on GBEBA. Did anyone else?
And for all of these, just so you know, we did have Brian Cave
Brian,
take a look
take
at
a
them
look.
as well. So I would say about half the changes are MSBA changes, then the other half are from Brian Cave. And in some cases, Brian Cave tweaked the MSBA regulations.
Okay. I don't have anything else on that policy.
Mhm.
And I don't have anything on GBEBB. If in fact we put a definition on that one also.
Mhm.
Or at least cross-reference where they can find the,
Yeah, and it's an R1 and an R2.
okay. Then I think we bounce down to GCBC. I have a question on this.
Mhm.
And maybe this is a problem with you, with us and unions and all that. Can all our benefits, whether they be for a professional or for union, be the same?
So could they be? I mean, we could have them be the same.
Is what I mean, is there anything wrong with that? It just seems that I remember when we did the one and we were extending the benefits, extended them without knowing, by the way, how much they cost. But we did extend them, and we extended them to 2 groups, and then we voted again to put it into policy for all groups.
Mhm.
I'm just wondering, would it be cleaner if we just had the same benefits for everybody?
So in this case, it's talking about the fringe benefits. So it's not talking about like leaves and those types of things. This is just talking about types of insurance and those pieces.
Yeah,
And there is some nuance difference. it hasn't happened yet, but this leaves the door open that if one of those union groups wanted to bargain for something that we don't have,
Okay,
they could potentially do so, where if we adjusted policy, either way, a joint resolution would trump board policy.
yeah,
So potentially. But the language in the policy, this is all the MSBA language, they left it pretty broad. The
uh,
only thing that we really cleaned up a little bit was about health insurance and group plans. That's to better address how how we added folks who have a choice between the high deductible plan that gives them the health savings account. This opens the door for that. And then
no,
also,
I have nothing, I don't disagree with anything that's written. My thing was, why make a difference between staff fringe benefits, whether they be professional or non-professional?
yeah, and this is it's just the way MSBA has structured it, because in many other districts across the state, there are different benefit packages based off if you're professional or if you're hourly.
I see you shaking your head, Wendy. I mean,
No, with what he said, that you have to always
Okay.
remember that we're the unique, we're just kind of a unique district with all of the staff that we have.
okay. Okay. I mean, I'm nothing against it. I just thought it might be nice just they were the same, but that's fine. Nothing against what's written.
And then just wanted to note that the COBRA reference is in there as well about qualifying life events where a staff member, if they leave the district or if they pass away, and then dependents would be able to take advantage of the continuation of benefits through COBRA.
Okay. Didn't see anything there. No, I agree with everything else. Administratively,
Mhm.
yeah. Administrative leave and suspension of professional staff. I didn't see anything.
Mhm. Okay. And that was just better aligning the regulation to actual practice. So this one, Dr. Cooney, I do want to give a little bit of an intro on the JECB. Kind of bringing this more as just initial info because we're still working on this. So what has come up? If you recall in the past, we've had reciprocal agreements with partner districts where, take Lindbergh, for example, if Lindbergh allows their teachers to enroll their students in Lindbergh, even if they don't live in Lindbergh, then if they want to get SSD services, then they also need to allow SSD teachers working in Lindbergh for their staff to attend Lindbergh.
Okay.
And so these agreements in the past, it's been a little bit of hit or miss about how often those have been updated, and nothing was ever really codified in policy. So we wanted to move language around those reciprocal agreements into policy and specifically put the agreement itself into regulation. The folks at Bryan Cave are still going through the reciprocal agreement itself. And
The
so
one, okay, this one.
yeah, so that's a draft.
Yeah.
That's a draft. And so we were hoping to have their feedback by today so we could talk about the edits from Bryan Cave, but we have not gotten those back yet.
Do we have an idea of the number that's involved here?
So we're looking at pulling that number. It appears to be small. What we've done is we've gone in and pulled out from Phoenix who are our students who have a zip code outside of
Okay.
the service area for where they're attending. But then we also are trying to control for who's there as a part of the voluntary transfer program. So if they're a city resident who's accessing through VTS, we're still cleaning up the data to pull out anyone who is McKinney-Vento, so homeless.
Oh.
And then anybody who's it's part of a bid decision, so foster. So we're paring it down, but it looks like it's a very small number of students. A dozen or so is what we're looking at.
Well, and I think, Kevin, I really appreciate you guys bringing this, just because where we are now with conversations about open enrollment and what those pieces
Yes.
look like, right? I mean, this right now it's important that we get our ducks in a row and are able to secure what we need to do before those Senate bills or before those conversations start happening.
That was going to mention with open enrollment, that seems to be hanging over everybody's head right now, what we're going to do next. Would it be possible, and just to make it, maybe it might even be tighter, on the individuals that do agree to come into a reciprocal agreement with us on this, can we also have that placed in their partnership agreement?
So we talked a little bit about it because it's almost like it would be an addendum to the
Okay.
partnership agreement.
Okay,
Because you're going to have some districts who are going to say, no, we don't want to do your reciprocal agreement,
that's
but we will sign your partnership agreement. So,
no.
Yeah.
Each partnership agreement is a little different.
right.
And so I was just going to say, and I find the partnership agreement is probably one of the big deals that we do.
Right.
And so I was going to say, if in fact we have a reciprocal agreement, if you want to put it as an addendum, if you want to put it in the agreement, I just want to make sure it's in the partnership agreement, because I think that's the only thing that really the board sees and the superintendent sees.
True. It keeps it front of mind. That's a really good point.
Right.
It's a really good point. So yeah, for the districts who do have one that's active, I can connect with Chiquita Moore about how do we make sure that that gets communicated when we communicate out partnership agreements.
Yeah, and we may only have five districts that would agree to this. Okay, we put this in their partnership agreement. That's the only other thing I would have asked.
Sounds good.
Well, we're moving right along.
Yeah, so this one will be a boomerang. We'll talk about it again next month once we get the edits back from Brian Cave.
Okay. Student alcohol and drug abuse. Other than with the marijuana, was there anything in this?
It's all updated with MSBA.
Okay.
Yep, we just matched it.
Yeah, I didn't see anything. Unless somebody else,
No, it's just a broadening of the
similar.
language.
Yep.
Yeah. My next one was with the interrogations. I just wanted to make sure that we had reasonable suspicion. And either on this one, I don't see a reference on it. Could we put a reference on that, on what that means?
It's that, or do you want to just carry over the definition from
Okay.
GBEBB?
I'd love to just carry over the
Yeah,
definition.
I thought that's what. Yeah,
I
I
think-
thought that's what
yeah.
we were going to do is add it.
Yep, that's no problem at all.
I just want to make sure that that's there.
Yeah,
At least I would think that's important.
Yeah, if we've got a working definition that the lawyers say works, let's carry it over.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
And the regulation, just again, updating minor corrections and updating both academic dishonesty, adding the language of artificial intelligence, and then also fine tuning the drug and alcohol to match.
How big is the deal with people having reports written with artificial intelligence in our facilities?
I think it varies from some schools to some programs. It varies.
Have you seen it, Wendy? Can you tell a difference?
You can.
I
actually
have
tell the
seen it.
difference.
Yeah, I have absolutely seen it in the college courses that I teach. Yeah, and the university that I work at has ways of scanning it through to double check it. But
And we're seeing it in the high school setting as well. It's not super prevalent. I think because students are aware of our ability to check it, that in general, when you have an assignment turned in, it's just like if it was plagiarized, you look at it and it's like, I don't think a 16-year-old wrote this. And so you dig in a little bit deeper. It's to this point, it's been pretty clear. Because it just doesn't sound like student voice.
Okay. That was the only thing I really had a question, because I didn't know how big that was a deal. And I'm
We're
guessing it
also
will
trying
be,
to educate students about it at the same time, Dr. Cuneo, so they know that we know. It's not it's not a trick that we're not aware of.
I like
Right.
that. I like them to know that we know.
Yeah.
And
I
I
think it's
think that's
probably,
gonna be a bigger issue.
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's more prevalent in the secondary settings where a lot more papers are written on a regular basis.
Mhm.
Okay. That's all I had on that.
Yep. And then the
JHCD.
regulations. Mm-hmm. So there's two regulations, and also this again updates some minor grammatical errors, and then adds in some of the language just to fine tune. When I was working with Erica, our director of nursing services, FDA approved some of the language that she wanted to match.
So,
And added in the consequences as well.
okay. I didn't see anything that needed to be changed or that I had questions about.
And again, this is the community use of our
Yeah.
district facilities, right?
Yes.
With the language updates, grammatical updates, and then also addressing that with people that would be using our buildings and our expectations while they're on our buildings, while they're in our buildings or using our buildings.
How many scouts use our buildings? That's a separate deal, I'm guessing. Because
It-
isn't that in statute that if they
It-
want to, they get it?
Yeah, it's a separate deal, but currently we don't have any groups who are.
Okay.
I think the
Is
last
there-
group we had was at Southview, I think.
And they're no longer using the
Yeah, and
facility.
they're no longer using.
Post-COVID, they've relocated to somewhere else.
Okay. I remember when they put, that was by statute, wasn't it? They got
Correct.
to use
Yes.
it? Mhm. I have nothing else.
And very similar, we pulled the language all the way through for KK, KKR1, the regulation, and regulation 2.
Fine. They're all consistent. Yeah.
So what our visitors are expected to do while they're visiting our building and on our perimeters.
No.
And that's the last one.
Wow. Okay. Fantastic. Well, thank you, everybody. Everybody have a good
Thank
weekend.
you. You too.
Yes.
You too.
All
Thank you.
right.
Take care, Dr.
Take
Cuneo.
care. Bye.
Great, thanks.